Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 103. It's 103, right?
103.
Pretty sure it's
103 is... Nope, I don't know if it has anything.
Some sort of radio station. 103 the
103,
bomb.
it means a lot to somebody out there.
Yeah.
So whoever you are, who you love 103.
Yeah, drop it in chat or comments or wherever you're listening. You know?
Tell me why 103 means a lot to you. Maybe it's this music. Yeah, maybe it is a music station you grew up listening to.
Yeah, I think in Sacramento it's
Radio 103.
I think it's 103.5 the
river,
bomb.
soft rock.
How you guys doing? How's your weekend?
Good. The weekend. What did I do? Oh, I almost died. Oh, well,
really? You better tell us about this.
Very, very exaggerated.
So
I cleaned the stove for like 3 hours.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
3 hours.
You know the stove. You got we got the grids on the stove, and then you got like the vents on the top for the smoke to go up, and then you got all of the stuff on the bottom. So you have to, it was really dirty. I didn't clean it for a long time because I hate cleaning the stove. It takes forever. So I had to take off all of the grids and put them in the sink and let them soak for 30 minutes and then soak the vents to get rid of all the grease. And it took forever. And I went from cleaning the stove, and then we went shopping to get lots of snacks, which was very fun. Then I came back and cooked. And at the end, I was like, I am dead. And I fell asleep and I didn't wake up.
Didn't wake up? You're still asleep right now. This is an astral projection of you while you're still in bed.
I'm shifting to the podcast, you could say. I'm currently shifted.
This is just an illusion. You're actually still high from the oven cleaner chemicals.
Right.
God, I hate cleaning all those things. It sucks. The things that are just really greasy and like just get very dirty.
I know,
and
it's super
awkward.
important too because it could become a fire hazard if you don't clean it. And
Very important.
True.
Yeah.
The first time I ever cleaned an oven is actually after I got married. I moved in with my wife into the house that she had been in. And one day she says, I got to clean the oven. I'm like, clean the oven? I've never done that before. So I decided to pitch in. I'm like, this job sucks.
Cleaned?
But as a single man, you never have to clean the oven because you never actually turn the oven on.
And if you do, it doesn't need to be cleaned for your hot pockets or whatever you're cooking it.
No, I used to just put like tinfoil over like under everything anyway, so it wouldn't drip or anything.
Oh, yeah, that's smart too.
Then I tried to light it on fire because she put newspaper all along the bottom and sides, and then soaked the oven cleaner into the newspaper, so it would kind of just stay there and soak.
Supposed to do?
I don't think so because I went to preheat the oven, not knowing that it was filled with newspaper, and almost burnt the house.
Well, you're
down.
definitely not supposed to do that.
No.
The oven cleaner, I was reading it. It's like, if you do this, you may die. If you do this, there may be an explosion. There may be a nuclear. I was like, I don't think I want to do this now. I think I'm just going to leave.
Nuclear?
You got a nuclear oven. That fission technology in your house? Cooking?
You should probably switch to gas.
Roasted
I was
veggies.
told it was,
radiation coming out of this oven. I don't know what's
I
going
was told
on.
it was more environmental friendly. So
The nuclear
The
oven.
nuclear option, yeah.
So that was my Saturday, and then on Sunday I couldn't move because I was way too exhausted because I triggered my illness.
Fumes.
Ugh.
Oh, that sucks.
So I decided to play a game that I wanted to play, but just didn't have time to and couldn't really fit it in. And it was Sakuna of Rice and Ruin.
Hold up.
Yes.
10 out of 10 transition.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
That was pretty good. I know.
That
I wasn't
smooth.
planning it. And it was just,
That was very smooth.
Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. I was like, I want a cozy Switch game that I can play on the couch or just lay in bed and put my headphones on and not listen to the world around me. And I was like, this is going to be so cozy. I'm so happy. And it's basically you are a child who is a god of both the god of harvest and the god of war, battle, or whatever. So she's both. She both fights and she's farming.
Harvesting.
So the whole thing is that,
Multitasking.
you grow rice throughout a year cycle in the game. And that is how you level up.
Okay.
You level up by how good your rice is. So you're working on the fields and making the rice, and then you leave and you go explore and get ingredients and fight things and take on bosses and stuff. And I was like, this is going to be so chill and cozy. And I looked up a YouTube video of just some beginner tips for growing rice. 40-minute video of how to get the best rice in winter, summer, spring, the fertilizer, the different ingredients that you use, how to
in the game you're talking?
Yes. It's like actually growing rice, and I wasn't prepared to actually grow rice.
Gotta grow that rice? Wow.
So you got to put the fertilizer on first, then you got to pick up the rocks, and then you got to till the land? Hoeing.
Hoe it, till it, thrill it.
You got to hoe it up.
Yeah.
So you hoe the thing, and then you gotta go and dry the rice, and you gotta put the rice in the ground, and then you gotta fill the water up to where it's supposed to be every day, and pick up all the
Do you use the knuckle measurement? You know, it'll be like this deep of water, like when you cook rice.
Ankles.
This sounds like chores, the video game.
I was not okay. I was excited about the the management and farming thing, 'cause that's kind of cozy. And then every now and then you go out and fight stuff. That's cool. But I was not prepared for how intense the rice farming is.
Wow.
It reminds me of ActRaiser, that old Super Nintendo game where part of it is like a God game and part of it is like a platforming action game. But you got to do good in that God game part to do good in the.
You got to get good rice. If your quality of rice sucks, you're not going to get the
You ain't leveling. You ain't getting the new stuff.
You literally can't. You don't recover health.
Yeah.
If you're hungry.
Sushi rice is important.
It's really great, though.
I missed it. Cool. What was the name of it again?
Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Sakuna.
How deep is the combat?
Combat can be pretty deep because you have you have light attacks, you have heavy attacks, you have different attacks based on if you're pressing forward or not pressing or pressing up, and then you have abilities that you can unlock, and then you kind of have a grapple hook as well. Actually,
you got a grapple too. Everybody's got a grapple now.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of funny that because all these games came out at the same time with a grapple hook, so it's just like the industry thought of the same thing at the same time.
Grapples are awesome. We should put a grapple hook in everything. Doesn't matter.
This game looks fantastic.
It's really good.
Really pretty.
It's a really good game. I just wasn't prepared for the rice, but I'm into it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend 20 minutes tilling this land.
Wow, is this reminiscent of like Stardew Valley, where like you're doing your farm and then you go out and possibly find stuff, but maybe more focused on the combat?
Yeah, it's got a similar thing to it, except you're mostly just doing rice. Instead of multiple things.
You're really you specialize.
Zeroing in on the rice here.
Yeah, you're a specialist, okay? You just farm the rice.
I'm a rice specialist.
Oh, shit. Yeah. And then the combat is like a side-scrolling action combat.
Oh, side-scrolling?
It looks really good.
It is a very good game. It's a game that I wanted to play, but I just didn't have the place to fit it. Came out somewhat recently. Let's see. Sakuna.
What if it turns out in Stardew Valley you're actually a god of farming?
2020 of November.
Oh, 2020. Nice, yeah. Most recent.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, pretty recent.
Yeah, what if the actual origin story of Stardew Valley is also that you're a god and this is a continuation, just a specialist in rice farming? Yeah.
I'm a rice specialist. And I understand why, because the dedication to the rice is real.
Huh.
It's very real.
Can you make rice wine?
You might be able to, because you can give stuff to, there's a woman who cooks the meals for you guys, and you give her the ingredients. So you can give her like certain ingredients and have her make rice wine or vinegar or salt. And then you can make meals from it.
Are you playing on the Switch?
I am indeed.
Are there any performance issues?
I haven't had any performance issues. No. Right. It probably doesn't look as
good. See
good.
here on Thursday.
It's been really enjoyable. It's been fun. I think Sakuna herself is like she's a fun character. She's a god and she's lived a lavish lifestyle. So she's kind of
lavish
stuck up.
Rice lifestyle.
Well, now she's working the land. She got sent out of her god kingdom and now she's.
Why?
Oh, exiled?
Because
What'd you do, Sakuna?
She let humans into the.
She let humans in.
Was she having like a party?
They were having a party and the humans appeared and she caused a ruckus and now she's on Earth having to work the fields.
Huh.
Tough to be a god these days, you know?
So that's I played that all Sunday pretty much.
This game does look great.
It's pretty freaking great. And it's in depth with the rice.
How's the combat? Is it fun?
The combat is fun. Yeah.
You spend more time doing rice than combat?
It's kind of 50-50. It also depends where you're at with the rice, because at the very beginning of the rice cycle, you're going to be doing a bunch of stuff to set up the growing of the rice. But then when it's growing,
Your
you have a very
infrastructure.
long period where it's growing.
Right.
And then you're kind of just going, you're picking up weeds, and then you're going out and fighting.
You got to weed everything?
You got to weed the crap that's in your rice field.
You can't let weeds overtake your rice, man.
Man.
You got to make sure the water is ankle high, is what I was told.
Ankle high.
Got it.
Apparently.
Very important.
I spent my Sunday. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it depends what kind of rice you want. If you want to have a larger
basmati.
harvest or more quality, you got to have it higher or lower. I don't know. Just my first.
I don't know
rice
anything about
was very
rice.
bad.
About rice growing, but it sounds like I'm about to find out.
You're about to become an expert.
Professional.
I spent my Sunday doing something similar. I was playing on my Switch all day, but I was playing The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD.
Okay.
Oh yeah, how is it?
The remake of the Wii game. So I had started playing it last week, and Eric's talked about it a little bit, but the beginning is real slow, right? It's not as slow as it was originally when it came out on the Wii, where I think the beginning actually made me stop playing the game when it came out for the Wii. Like, I was just like, I can't stand this. I'm not playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
This was like an hour of like kind of the overly cute, explore the town, like meet all the characters in the town, but like nothing's actually happening yet. It's just like a tutorial, an extended tutorial. But once that hour was up and you actually get into the story of the game proper and you start exploring a little bit, I am actually liking this game a lot. And I'm only I think I'm in like 7 or 8 hours into it. And I have beat the first dungeon. That's all I've done, right? I beat the first dungeon. I came back and I've run some side quests. I'm about to go to the second dungeon. But I gotta say, like the world and the presentation and the gameplay is all really good. It's not, you can see where Breath of the Wild came from. Like they talk about this when they talked about this when they were like kind of reintroducing it. Like Nintendo was actually like saying, "Hey, we're doing this HD remix." You can definitely see like the bar that fills up based on like your grip strength when you're climbing something. That's here.
Mm-hmm.
But what it isn't is an open world game. It's much more like a linear playthrough where you land on like the main like continent, and you basically like play. You meet some characters along the way. You do some side quests, but you're basically progressing in a linear manner toward the dungeon. You do the dungeon. You fight a boss. You get an item. It's that, right? Which is Zelda.
That's the formula.
It's really good. The gameplay is a little bit weird. You can play it 2 different ways because this was one of the games that you used the Wiimote to slash your sword.
Yep.
So you can still do that with the Switch. What are these things called?
Joy-Con.
Joy-Cons. You can still play that way with the Joy-Cons. I don't prefer to play that way. I play with just the controller. And to control your sword, you actually move your right stick in the direction you want to slash. So if you want to slash from right to left, you just move your joystick to the left, and he does that. If you want to go, up to down, you just move it down, and he does that. And then you can do like kind of combos, and you can do like kind of special moves by hitting multiple directions in sequence, right? You can do like a spin attack. You can do a finishing move if you like stun an enemy, stuff like that. And it's actually pretty fun. Like it's because the enemies are designed in a way to actually have sword fights with you, especially the bosses. It's actually pretty fun and adds like a layer of depth to the combat that I'm really enjoying. It's compelling me to keep playing because I'm enjoying the scenarios, like the enemies as I get to them. The last boss of the first dungeon was actually pretty in depth. Like you really had to learn his moves. You got to learn what it looks like when he's going to block in a certain direction, so you have to come at him from the other direction. I'm really enjoying it, and cool. It's a little bit cutesy at parts, especially when you're doing side quest stuff like up in the Skyward area, which could be a little bit. I don't love that part of it, but when you're actually in it, like it's just a good Zelda game, and they've really taken a lot of the bullshit tutorial stuff out. Yeah. The stuff that made me quit playing the first time, because I originally had this game for the Wii.
Yeah.
And I just this and what was the other one that came out on the Wii? I can't remember the name of it. I didn't enjoy either. Twilight Princess. I didn't really enjoy either of those Zeldas. Was it Twilight Princess? I don't know. The other one that came out in the Wii.
The Wii Zelda.
Which one is this one? What's this one called again?
This one's Skyward Sword.
Wasn't Wind Waker?
Wind Waker was GameCube?
I could be wrong. Yeah. There's been a lot of them.
Wind Waker was
all
GameCube.
in all, there's too many Zeldas. Cancel Zelda.
Yeah, but the combat is actually pretty fun. Like moving you would know. Moving the right stick to control your sword, and like there's puzzles where you got to like wave your sword around in a certain pattern, and like the eyeball that opens the door will just like follow the pattern of your sword and get dizzy and open the door. You can hold your sword up to the sky and it'll charge with light, and then you have like a ranged attack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's cool. Pretty good. The combat's pretty good, and the world is kind of fun to explore. So far, I'm liking it.
Nice.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, and it's on the Switch, so I'm just kind of sitting on the couch, curled up.
I've been going, oh man, sure wish I had a Steam Deck right now. Oh dear whiz, sure wish I had a Steam Deck.
Yep, the exact same. So I played Death's Door, or I played part of it over the weekend.
How's Death's Door?
It's a lot of fun, but that's the same thought. I was like, man, I wish it was on the Switch, because it's not on the Switch, which it seems like such an obvious Switch game. Maybe like
so many of these games are only coming out on Steam again because it's just the easiest place to get your game out.
Yeah, it's Steam and Xbox that it's out on. It's not on Game Pass, but there's a few performance issues or weird little things, like it wouldn't properly full screen. I couldn't get it to VSync properly. I had to go into the panel to make it VSync, so I wasn't getting weird hashy thingies, VSync scan lines and all that. And yeah, it's interesting. It's very Zelda-ish, Death's Door. It's like I like it. First off, like I think it's really cool. I like it. It's a lot of fun. I think the story is interesting. You play this little raven bird who is an agent of reaping souls to bring him to.
He's a reaper.
Yeah,
the Reaper Raven.
He's cute.
It's his job. He's like, he clocks in. He goes. He's got to go take care of these assignments. There's like this whole. Yeah. It's very much like the TVA from Loki,
Yeah.
I was like, there's a ton of parallels here with like, oh, we got to prune this. This person's like, they got to make sure they bring their soul over, and apparently the souls power the doors as well and all that. Which I don't think that's really a spoiler, but anyways, it's fascinating.
It's like Monsters Inc.
Yeah, it's kind of like Monsters Inc. Yeah, Monsters Inc. meets Zelda with TVA elements.
With TVA Ravens. That's Door. There's TVA Ravens like Zelda and Monsters Inc. That's the game.
It's adorable. And it's also dark. Yeah. It's like dark material because they talk about death and like, hey, this person's past their time. We got to make sure to reap them. Your time's up.
It kind of reminds me of what like Spiritfarer was, where it was very cutesy and very adorable. And then there's this very dark, kind of sad
dark theme
that's going on because you're dealing with people that are passing, right? And you're having to take them.
Yeah. It's one of the first bosses is it's a witch. Like I won't say everything about it because like, you might be playing it, but
you burn her.
Well,
do you kiss her?
Her motives are very much like rooted in reality, like not wanting to lose her loved ones, like so it deals in topics like that while you go through these levels that are very much organized like puzzle Zelda type of stuff. And the combat's decent too. There's even like weapons that you can find. I found like extra swords that are different and upgrades and all that. Like as you get bits of soul stuff, you can go and spend them in the I forget what it's called. They had a specific name, but you go to a big crow who's like, you want to trade in some of this stuff to upgrade your abilities for combat. And
the crow from Dark Souls, Demon Souls.
Yeah. Different crow. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get into it. I'm currently playing through Ender Lilies, and I want to finish that game before I move to Death's Door.
Makes
but
sense,
Death's Door, it's a pretty short game. It's not super long. And for everything I've seen of it, I know that I'll love it. Pretty certain I'm gonna love the game.
Beautifully crafted. The art style is definitely cutesy, so that's why it makes sense it would have been on the Switch. However, there's a lot of lighting dynamics and a lot of polish, that maybe it would actually have a tough time hitting a target frame rate.
It may,
yeah, because there's a lot of
Steam Deck, man.
I know.
Just keep thinking about it.
This would have been an amazing game on the Steam Deck. I mean, there's going to be a lot of games that are going to be amazing on the Steam Deck, but this one, I would have been like, wow, this is so cool playing this exact experience on a Steam Deck, you know? Yeah, like the audio, the music, the little sound effects, nothing's voiced over, or nothing has a voiceover. It's all dialogue that pops up, but it's and it's just done in a really charming way that's really beautiful. It's not super difficult or anything like that. I mean, it does pose some challenges. You do have to read enemies' attacks, but if you're a Dark Souls player, it'll be nothing for you. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm about a third of the way through it right now.
Awesome. And it's a game that was made, I think, in total by like 6 people, but it's kind of 2 main guys or 2 main people. I don't know the gender identity of them. 2 main people who work at the studio, and then I think they got support from a couple people. But
Amazing.
The games that are coming out of these solo devs or duo devs are crazy. We have Song of Iron that's coming out soon. That's 1 dev, single man making that game.
Yeah, super cool.
It's really phenomenal what people can achieve in this day and age now with the technology we have, just being a solo dev.
Yeah. Yeah, like it has that essence of a really nice put together package of an indie title that is just super fun to jump into. You know, like if you have any kind of nostalgia from Zelda in the past, like you're gonna pick this up and be like, "This is so cool to be this little raven, this bird." Go now, I gotta reach some souls.
It's $20.
Yeah,
$20. What is it? 6 to 8 hours long. Like a nice bite-sized chunk of gaming.
Yeah, it's probably about 8 hours.
I get sick of games that feel like they're padded. You know, like you feel like you're going through them and like, oh, here's a bunch of side quests that you have to do so that we can tell people this game takes 60 hours to complete.
Right.
There's certain games that I'm really happy that they're long, like Elden Ring. I like have it be 18 billion hours long. I will spend all my time in there and I will never leave and I'll be happy about it. Ghost of Tsushima, like I was happy with that length. I can't remember what my end time was, but that was like a good length for what I felt like. But generally, like if it's a game like Death's Door or kind of indie games or those experience of studios that I don't necessarily know that well or they haven't put out a bunch of games, I am more than happy. I would prefer to play your like 8-hour, 10-hour game than play like a 40-hour game.
Especially if that 40-hour experience just feels like it could have been a tight 8, but now it feels like a padded 40, you know? Like
it comes down to the quality.
Love
right?
when a game is a little shorter. I love it. I'm like, oh, I can do like 2 streams. We can knock this game out. We can have a really awesome experience and walk away and go play another awesome game.
Yeah, the quality of those hours, I think, is very like you can't forget that, and I think a lot of people kind of forget that when they're trying to judge game value. Like, how many hours am I going to get out of this game versus like what are you going to walk away remembering? You know,
exactly.
Like that.
Exactly.
I'd rather have memorable experiences where I'm like, man, that sits with me regardless of however much time it took to get it.
Yep.
Unless it's like a 2-hour game for $50, then no.
Yeah, like it is exactly. It's all about the experiences and what you come away with from that game. Because I can play a 60-hour game and I can play an 8-hour game and I can walk away feeling the similar experiences and similar feelings. It's really not about the length of a game that makes it worth it for me or makes me come away going, yay. It's you know, I come away having an awesome experience. I look back at bosses and I'm like, God damn, that was so cool. That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Also, S. in chat said it seems like it tops out at 15 if you want all the secrets. That's for Death's Door. So if Death's Door, if you want to 100% it,
and it's $20.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just beautifully crafted, and like I found a few of those secrets, and they're really clever. You know, again, none of it's going to like really challenge your gaming abilities or anything like that. It's not designed to be that way.
As long as it doesn't challenge my puzzle brain, because my brain sees a puzzle and immediately melts, and then I have to go lay down for like 5 hours.
Same.
There's a few puzzles.
It's really bad. It's really bad. It's actually kind of scary. I love playing all these games, and then as soon as there's a really intricate puzzle that I need to think about, I'm like, guys, if I think about this, I'm gonna get really sick. So you guys figure it out for me, or I'm leaving.
So far, I have not experienced any like Destiny raid level puzzles in there. It's like Zelda puzzles, you know, like, oh, you do this or something's not shown on the screen because it's like hidden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless it's like I think for me, unless it's a game that is crafted with kind of puzzles at the forefront, I tend to be okay with those puzzles. You know, games where it's a puzzle game.
Yeah.
They have.
I am not shy about turning into a walkthrough too. Like if I get stuck on something and I start feeling frustrated, I'm like, do I want to spend my time frustrated with this puzzle, or do I just want to move on with the fun I was having before? So I'll just I have no problem like looking up like a walkthrough on YouTube or like on like even a written one.
I only look up YouTube walkthroughs if I've completely hit a wall. That's not happening. Like almost always, I want to like crack it.
Yeah, it's an exciting time because there's a lot of indie games that I am extremely excited for. It really feels like this year is kind of having indie games be a little bit more at the forefront of stuff. Like I've seen a lot of people playing Death's Door and being excited about Death's Door.
It's a great game.
I'm playing through Ender Lilies. Finally, I think I'm like 9 hours in. It's about a 22-hour game, something like that. And man, it's just great. It's so good.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Yeah, you're gonna beat it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Hopefully this week. Hopefully.
What's interesting is I think what we're seeing is the beginning of a whole bunch of games that were started off of the crest of the success of seeing Stardew Valley, Fez,
Dead Cells.
Dead Cells,
Super
I think was later.
Boy.
Yeah, Super Meat Boy, like Super Meat Boy, Fez, and Stardew Valley. I feel like those were three real like suddenly, wow, this person, like a very small crew, whether it's 1, 2, or 5 people, suddenly selling millions of copies, you know, like having all that influx. And that definitely, Hollow Knight, those, that definitely inspired a bunch of developers to be like, you know what? I think I got a good idea for something. We're seeing it now. I think we're going to be in a renaissance of that for a while.
I think we have hit a really awesome spot because like also games that have come out that there's things that have inspired developers to take a chance on making a game that they really want to make. But I think also the public has been a bit more open to indie titles thanks to Dead Cells and Hades and Hollow Knight and Stardew and all those games that you mentioned as well, because they've been really quality games. So the more that these indie games come out and people play them and they're like, these are really good, it really does open people's eyes to more indie games. And I'm really excited.
So much of the AAA stuff is so samey too. There's so many military shooters, and there's so many like online only, like team-based shooters. There's so many MOBAs, and every week one of these mega corporations you're finding out that's filled with shitbags, right? So you don't want to give them any money anyway. So it's so much easier to spend your money on a one-person studio. Nobody can get sexually assaulted at a one-person studio.
It's true.
Well. Another thing that happens too is so much homogenization of the same safe bet. Like you were saying, it's the same stuff being it's like what's happened in Hollywood. They got to do all these safe bets because if they're going to spend millions of dollars on a project, they want to make sure they're going to get at least some of that back on a quote unquote safe bet, which makes a lot of decisions kind of feel like, why would you do the same thing over and over and over, like the same formula or whatever? Whereas these indies it's a passion project. They're betting the farm on their indie project, and they're putting everything into it to see it happen. Yeah.
I think it also it makes an indie game stand out if they do something slightly new, slightly unique. You know, that kind of gets people talking about it. Whereas if you are a AAA studio that's already had all these games come out, having a game come out where it's like, oh, it's like Assassin's Creed, and people are like, okay, I like Assassin's Creed, and they play it, and it's pretty safe, and it works out well. You end up making money from it. But I think for an indie dev to really push through that barrier to get people to really notice them, having something a little bit unique, a little bit different, whether that's an art style or a mechanic or something, really pushes them into the forefront.
Yeah,
there's space for it in the market because there doesn't seem to be a lot of those kind of B-level studios anymore. Like they've all been absorbed by EA and Activision and Sony and Xbox. So it's like there just isn't like a lot of those kind of. We don't make AAA games. We make like A games, or we make B-level games where we put a lot of time and money into it. It's not Red Dead Redemption 2 money, but it's it's a good amount of money, so everything looks good, but there's not a lot of that. So I think there's also room for these indie devs who get a big hit for their first game to expand a little bit and try something a little more ambitious for their second game or third game, and we could really see some cool stuff because there's games out there like that. Like EA tried to put Mirror's Edge out too, because Mirror's Edge 2 out because everybody was asking for it because Mirror's Edge was such a cult classic, but then it came out and it was a big flop. So like, well, we don't want to take these risks because they're multi-million-dollar risks. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, No Man's Sky. I mean, that developer started with, I can't remember the name of the game, but it was like a mobile-ish type of thing. They expanded and have grown into No Man's Sky that feels like a AA studio now for or Hello Games, you know, what they're making.
Yeah.
So it's interesting seeing those progressions as well. And they also bet the farm on making that game work.
A lot of them really do. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of indie developers. It's kind of that's why you'll find that if you go to videos about indie games or you look at a Twitter thread, you'll usually find the developer in there being like, "Thank you so much for highlighting our game," because it's such a huge thing for them, for anyone to notice what they're doing and get their game out there, because they're kind of starting from nothing, right? It's like the studio who's maybe never put out something or put out a couple things with a game no one's really heard of. So it's, they really are putting everything into it, betting everything on it.
Yeah, really cool.
And it is fun to see like a game like kind of really like hit too. Like Among Us did it last year, where that game was actually available for like a couple of years before it really hit.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a crazy story.
Rocketed.
Yep. Crazy story.
Really
it was out for like you said, 2 years. And then all of a sudden, boom, everyone's playing it. Because it was a couple of YouTubers, right, who did like a series on it. Because it was fun, obviously, to play with each other. And then it just caught on like wildfire.
Fun
social
if you're
ability.
an asshole.
And there's Valheim popped off. That's a super small studio.
Yeah, we're in an era or renaissance of indie development right now.
And I love it so much.
Yeah.
I have found a passion of just indie games. I love them. I adore them so much because there's so many games that you play and they're like, maybe they didn't do anything super unique. Like Valheim wasn't a super unique thing, but they did the core stuff perfectly.
Yeah.
They did it so well.
Or they run with an idea.
Or they run with an idea,
It doesn't get muddled down by everybody else's opinions. It doesn't have to have a Destiny inventory system in it because it doesn't have to have a grappling hook in it because grappling hooks are hot right now.
Yeah. When the core concept is so great, it's okay to have some jank around the edges because you're okay with it. You're like, yeah, sure, like things might look a little weird here and there, but if the core concept is exciting, then you're going to want to keep playing it. Like Minecraft is the greatest example of that. The greatest indie title of all that became,
that's true. That's now
multi-billion dollar.
One of the biggest games ever in the history of games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. I really, there's a lot of games that I really love, and I do love that they tend to be shorter. Although Ender Lilies is not like 22 hours is not a short amount of time. It's going to take us a long time. But a lot of them are, and I like just bouncing from one really awesome game to another really awesome game. And there's a bunch coming out this year that look really exciting. Like They Always Run, which is essentially the Mandalorian indie game. I can't wait for that game. I keep tweeting them, telling them that I can't wait. Every now and then I'm like, hi, I was thinking about you today. You are very cool.
You're like a stalker.
I am a little creepy to developers. I can't lie. It's true. It is true. I do
Just
randomly
thinking about you.
I randomly tweet at them saying, I love you. You're great. Thank you for everything.
I got like that with the Blasphemous devs. Like I was so obsessed with that game. I started tweeting them, and then I was one day I said, I'm a little bit worried about the community manager for Blasphemous. A little depressed. Because they only tweet like kind of like morbid stuff because that's kind of the tone of the game.
Thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like, I know you're a small studio. I want you to know I appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was a small studio, having someone just be like, I really loved your demo. Can't wait for your game. Think about it all the time. Be like, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate those messages. I'm like, thank you. Now I'm happy. I'll go have a good day.
Absolutely.
I got a couple of other games I'd like to talk about. One is,
Yeah.
have you seen the trailers for Grid Legends? This is a racing game, so I know you guys aren't necessarily huge fans of racing games, but these guys are doing something cool. Like, this is Codemasters, so they already know how to do a good racing game, right? You don't have to worry about the physics and the cars and all that. They already have that shit down. But what they're doing in this game, which is really cool, is they're using live action.
They are.
Actors to do like a really cool story mode. Hopefully it's really cool, right? All we're seeing is trailers right now.
Yeah.
But the story of sport, right, is like you're going to be a race car driver. You're going to be competing with these other race car drivers that are played by real life actors. I haven't seen anything like this since Need for Speed. I think it was Hot Pursuit with, no, it wasn't Hot Pursuit. The one with Razor Callahan where they used real actors. But what would be neat here, because here's the thing with sports games, right, is like, the best part of watching sports and being a fan of sports is the stories of the people
drama
on the team. The drama, right? It's like, the highlight of my being a sports fan was in the early 2000s when the Red Sox and the Yankees were battling out in the ALCS every year to see who was going to the World Series. And just every bar was filled. 50-50 Yankee fan, 50-50 Red Sox fans. We're all yelling at each other, having a big old party. It was great, right? And like you get to know all the players, and like when a player got traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees, oh my God, right? Like that's what makes sports fun, right? The actual on-field action is just the culmination of all the soap opera leading up to that point.
It's literally anime.
Right. So hopefully what could happen with a game like this, if Grid Legends is successful, is they could actually add that drama to a racing game, which racing games are fun because you get to drive cars that you'd never drive in real life at speeds you could never attain in real life. But what they're missing is the drama. Like, do you guys ever watch that F1 show on Netflix, Drive to Survive? It's 3 seasons in. It is a fantastic show. Even if you're not an F1 fan or a sports fan, what it does is shows you kind of an inside look at behind the scenes of what F1 is really all about. And each episode per season is about one of the teams
cool.
in F1. It's a fantastic show. But if they could somehow, and what that show has done is brought a ton of new fans to F1 because they watch that show on Netflix. They are fully immersed. They know all the drivers. They know all the teams. They know who owns the team, whose team is on the risk of getting running out of money and not being able to be in next year's F1. So you now have that base knowledge of all the drama of F1. So then you funnel that into actually watching F1 races, and you enjoy it so much more. That's what is attainable here. I don't know if they'll actually pull it off, but I'm definitely going to buy this game to check it out because I think that could be really fun.
I hope they pull it off. Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds like a very cool concept.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching because I just looked it up on Steam, and they have the trailer there where they're showing the real actors, and it looks very cool. I'm excited to see how this ends up being. Hopefully, it is very cool.
It's not coming out till 2022, so we still got some time to wait. But Codemasters we already know they do good racing games, right?
Right.
That part Dirt we know 5. Is gonna be fine. Yeah, they do a ton of them. I think they do the F1 games.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Also, a new trailer came out for Guilty Gear Strive, the new character.
Oh, I haven't seen the new character yet. I gotta look it up.
His name is Goldlewis Dickinson, or Gold Dick for short.
Old Goldie Dick.
Briar, is this you in a video game?
He is pretty badass, man. He's this big, huge dude. He's in the military, right? He's got a beautiful beard. Beautiful beard.
He does have
and his weapon, because this is like a weapons combat game.
He's Texas.
Yeah, he is Texas.
He's got like the horseshoes on his hands. He's got like a big belt.
Yeah.
His
weapon is a coffin from Area 51 with an alien in it. It is just
God,
awesome.
I love
that is
Gear.
Great. Oh my god.
The characters are so good.
They've showed his special moves now, and his special moves are really cool. They're really dynamic. Like he's got like all of it, like a lot of them are like half circles, but depending on which way you spin the half circle, and there's like 8 different variations. So like half circle from left to right going up, or half circle from left to right going down, or 2 different special moves. The reverse is a different special moves. Like he's got a ton of like this half circle variation to be very dynamic, and it looks like it's gonna be a ton of fun. He releases tomorrow for anybody with a season pass,
Nice.
and then on the 30th for like everybody.
His lines are hilarious. You fixing to start a war there?
Yeah, he is really fun. I'm really digging this game, guys. I don't talk about it too much because I don't, not a lot of people are fighting game fans, and Guilty Gear is a very small subset of fighting games, but I have been playing a ton of this game and I really enjoy it.
Guilty Gear Strive is it's very beginner friendly.
Super
and I know
beginner friendly.
There was a lot of people who were like, "Oh, it shouldn't be beginner friendly. Fighting games, meh, serious." But they were like,
everybody has to tell you what games should be like and what you should like.
most people are like us with fighting games, right? Where we want to hop on, we want to fight with your cool characters, we want to be able to do some cool stuff and have a fun time. We're not trying to go pro, we're not trying to be like grandmaster players in your ranked settings, but we want to get on and be able to do some combos without having to study for like hours and hours.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah, it's like, imagine if Destiny had you input a complex set of instructions before each super, and it was different for each character and each type of super, or like that would kill some of that for a lot of people to just get you going. So I think like it's important to be beginner friendly.
Yeah. I think I might just start playing it offline a little bit, because I love Guilty Gear. I played it, the first time I played it was in a Japanese arcade, and the reason I played it is because I was like, those characters look really cool. They look great.
These are the best set of characters. I think I said this last week.
They're amazing.
They're the best set of characters, I think, since Street Fighter 2.
I just love them. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Just looking at them. You don't even need to play the game. You look at them and you're like, man.
There's a doctor that has a paper bag over his head, and his weapon is like a giant scalpel. There's like giant crayons, those novelty giant crayons. It's like that, but it's a scalpel. And he's got a story too. He used to be like a crazy psychopath doctor, but now he's a good guy. He's like he's changed his ways and he's become a good guy. It's so funny. There's a whole story mode that plays out like an anime movie. The tutorial is fantastic. If you're brand new to fighting games, you start in the tutorial, and it starts you from the beginning of just movement and like how to get your character in and out of like attack range, but it gets you right into like doing all those cool ass combos, which is what you really want to do. Is you want to feel cool when you're doing a fighting game, right?
Yeah,
it's a fantastic game.
It's cool. I haven't bought it yet. But every time I see people talking about it and I see some of the imagery of the game, I'm like, it's much closer to getting into it, even though I know I'm not going to be like serious.
One of the most beautiful games, man. It's just a really beautiful game with phenomenal character design, which I think gets a lot of people like, I'll try it out. And the story mode is it's kind of like a movie, like you said, Briar. So you can kind of chill and fight a little bit. Nice. Doesn't need to be super serious.
I don't think there's any fighting in the story mode. I think it's just a movie. I think you just sit there with popcorn and watch.
It really is. It is a really good game. It's very good.
Yeah. And it does not look as good on YouTube and Twitch as it does on a 4K TV running natively.
Oh,
it's just like the compression and everything just kills this game's look. Like it still looks fine on YouTube, but it looks so much better. I play it on PlayStation 5 and it just looks stupid good.
Nice.
Well, guys, I went to bed really late last night because Tomo found that if you make a Japanese Nintendo account, they have karaoke. So he made a Japanese account. He went on a website where you get like the digital coins to add to your account, because you can't use an American credit card or anything like that. So you got a digital code for the Japanese account. And it's like the best karaoke library of all kind ever made. It's got every song, Japanese, English.
So you download like a program that is karaoke on your Switch.
It's kind of like it's like a game that's on the Switch, and it's karaoke. And then you just look for the song that you want, and it's there because they just have everything. And then you just sing, and it's got like Mario in the background doing some tracks, and it's got the lyrics, it's got
DJ
the music.
Mario.
You have like a little USB microphone. You can also hook up like your iPad or your phone to the game, so you can like pass an iPad like you're at a karaoke room to your friends, and you can queue up songs. It's amazing.
Whoa,
you
awesome.
can just invite people over and have like a full karaoke session. There's like, I think they said there's
How's
maybe
it do a
8,000 songs in the library. It's just a USB. You plug USB into it, and it works right away.
No shit.
So I was up really late because I was like, what else is on here? Play the next song.
Next song.
It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is the best library of karaoke songs I think I've ever seen in my life. Huh. And it's just on Nintendo. And the way that you pay for it as well is like you go to a karaoke room. So you pay $3 for like 3 hours. You pay by the hour to use the songs. Yeah. Huh. So you can be like, I'm going to invite people over for like 6 hours. You pay $6. And you just have unlimited songs that you can sing for everybody.
There was a brief time in history where Rock Band was a big thing, and I'd go to parties or I'd go to bars that had Rock Band there. But the thing with Rock Band is you had to buy each individual song, and it was expensive, like buying the songs. And then if you didn't like the song, it was disappointing because I just spent like $8 on that song, and nobody likes it. Nobody ever plays it, you know.
See, and this is cool because you could have the whole library for X amount of hours, and it's really everything you could possibly want from a karaoke experience at home. Like if you want to invite people over, not for the English songs. The English songs, they have it in English, and then they also have it in Japanese above the English. But yeah, for English songs, they have them in English, and you're good to go. It's really everything you could ever possibly want. So I would love to invite people over and just be like, hey, let's get a bunch of drinks. Let's load up Nintendo karaoke. Party the night away.
Super silly. Awesome.
And it's really easy to do, too, because, you just make a Japanese account, and then you just buy one of the cards to load money onto the Japanese account. And
so it must be a licensing issue why it's only in Japan.
Oh, it must be.
Yeah.
Like
it's amazing.
Only bought licensing just for the Japanese region right now, so it's not in the United States.
And it's updated like all the time too. They have all the most recent popular songs that are on there. They have all the charts. They update it based on what's in the charts too. So it's kept up to date. It's got everything, every song. You want to sing "I Want It That Way" by you could do that. But then you want to sing an anime song, you could do that too. You got whatever you want. It's on there. You want to sing A Whole New World from Aladdin? Absolutely.
Done.
You want to sing Sephiroth? It's on there.
Oh my goodness.
Do they have Shake Your Fantasy?
Tefty, you might have to hit up Nintendo and be like, hey, slip me into that karaoke.
I need that Japanese Nintendo karaoke money, you know?
Yeah, it was very fun. Stayed up way too late.
Nice. Aside from Death's Door, I've been playing more Dead Cells. Dead Cells got me hooked again.
Oh, yeah.
Been playing on the Switch.
Really?
Yeah.
Did new DLC come out or something?
I don't know. They've been updating it over
time.
There
was new DLC, right?
Are you just playing like the main game again? Like over again?
It's just fun to like run through. And like when you know the mechanics, you start to kind of speed run things. You know? So you like certain doors only open if you got it under a certain time limit, or if you don't take damage from the bosses, you'll get a certain door open, or if you like kill enough enemies without taking damage. But like the Dead Cells is just great. It's a great game. Like there's a lot of branches that they've introduced into various portions, or like, you know, there was the original branch, and then they started expanding it with DLC to have a few more branches here and there. And now it's like every area it feels like there's 2 possibilities until you get to these main bosses. So yeah, it's been fun to jump back into, you know?
Dead Cells is just such a good game.
Yeah.
They nailed feel. Like they absolutely killed how to make a side-scrolling game feel awesome. And they did it with so many different weapons. There's so much variety in the gameplay. They just killed it. I was looking to see where...
That's the other thing too. There's a
ton of Dead Cells, but it's not on my Steam, so it must be on Switch.
Yeah, there's new weapons as well that have been added over time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's new weapons. There's outfits that you can unlock. Like they've expanded the unlocks.
Outfits.
Yeah, there's a whole the whole outfit type of system.
That's
like,
what's the safe word.
You can customize your character now. There's new artifacts that I didn't have before. I'm like, they've been expanding this for a while. And again, I don't know the exact details of when the updates have happened, but they did like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And I'm pretty sure they're working on more because it's just fun. It's a fun game.
Dead Cells is a very, very, very good game.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Dead Cells was, I wouldn't say the reason, but I would say a big reason as to why people kind of fell in love with roguelites again.
Mm-hmm.
It really kind of pushed them to the forefront. I think a lot of people maybe didn't even fully know what roguelites were. And then Dead Cells popped off, got massive. People were like, this is just a fun game. And it's also pretty forgiving for like when you die, you always feel like you're progressing, and it's very good at letting you visually see that progression.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hades came out, another roguelite, and now it's a category that people love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I know that in the beginning it was tuned a bit higher, and then they over time they've like adjusted things. Like they added the level system. Once you've like beat the boss, the main boss at the end, you can I can't remember the exact term, but like make the world more difficult, and it opens up more doors throughout the world that are available to you. Yeah, and like you unlock different things that can happen as you progress. They've just done a really good job. They've listened to the community. They said, "Oh, this needs to be rebalanced. These need to be reworked or something like that." Like the build system in the very beginning is very different from how it is now, and the build system now is just it's nice. You can like focus in on one type of thing to
that's cool.
Yeah, to increase power, but then you might want to spread it a little bit to just make sure you have plenty of health. Yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot. I feel like every run I can be like, I want to do melee. Oh, this run I want to do ammo. This run I want to do kind of a mix of both. This run I want to focus on like what is it? The like the deployables things, like the traps and all that. Yeah, it's cool.
I was just looked it up on Amazon to see if it was still available. And they have like an action game of the year edition, but it also includes Rise of the Giant DLC. So there has been DLC.
Oh yeah, definitely
for this.
Yeah, there's been a couple. There was a paid DLC for sure. Yeah, there was Bad Seed and then Rise of Giants, and then I think there was another one that came out. And like they've been adding more branches to where you can go and more unlockables and more weapons and enemies. And I think another thing is the enemy design is always really interesting to see. Like when there's a new enemy,
it is good.
They have interesting move sets. They throw things at you that you're not really ready for just yet, and they usually hit hard. So it keeps you on your toes. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of roguelikes. I don't like that style. I thought it was kind of cool. I first ran into it with Rogue Legacy, and I kind of liked it then, but it's just so common now in indie games because it's an easy way to extend the kind of the life of your game. Instead of just having like you beat level 1, now you start at level 2. You beat level 2, you start at level 3, right? You're replaying content with a
it may seem like it's
so
easier.
Much, but this one it's not.
Yeah, it may seem like that, but I think it's actually a lot more harder to develop it properly.
You're probably right, but it's just so common that I got sick of it. But with Dead Cells, it was really executed really well.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
and I played it before I got really sick of it. I played this game when it came out, like originally, which was what 2017, 2018.
I don't know.
Really? I didn't know it came out that long. Dead Cells release date.
Yeah, we got to verify facts.
2017? Seriously?
Wow.
There's no way. Are you serious? There's no way.
Can't believe it's been 2017.
It's 2021 right now.
That just makes my brain
4
hurt.
years? There's no way. I don't believe you. The internet's lying. There's no. I feel like this game came out 2 years ago, max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out before Celeste, which I'm kind of surprised about. For some reason, Celeste seems like an older game to me. Jesus. Which is another fantastic game.
What is going on?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They've got it on a bunch of platforms now too. I mean, from Switch to I think Android, iOS. Like I've bought Dead Cells multiple times on many platforms.
Yeah, I have Dead Cells.
It again. It's literally in my shopping cart.
This is Briar's SideQuest. Briar's SideQuest is him just loading up his shopping cart on various websites and adding the cart.
I have bought 2 games today.
It should be called "What's in Briar's Bundle."
Yeah,
it's amazing. Randomized in chat said last DLC dropped January 26th of this year for Dead Cells.
Oh, really?
So this game came out 2017.
This action game of the year.
Well, I think there's only one paid DLC. All of the other stuff, I believe, has been free. I could be wrong on that. But they've done a lot of free updates. But The game is 2017. Again, this is a small development team. I'm sure it's expanded now because they've been wildly popular. People have loved this game. They've clearly got a budget now for more developers, but they 2017 and they've still been developing it and making it better and better. And it's awesome. It's just as good today to jump in and like get a few runs in. It's great.
I like that. I like when you bring up kind of something that we all forgot about. That's fun.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a fun game. I really like it.
I put a lot of time into that game. I don't know if I beat it.
Yeah,
though.
me too,
not sure.
actually.
Never beat it?
I don't know.
Trying to get good. That's why you're putting time in.
I'm not good at finishing games. Like I kind of a little bit ADD in that aspect. I'll just kind of, ooh, shiny new. I'll go play that and then forget about the last one. And I have so much trouble coming back to a game that I've stopped playing for any length of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like so much trouble.
It is very difficult for me to repick up a game.
It's very difficult. Well, because then it's especially if you're streaming it. If you're streaming variety, we were talking about this a bit in the pre-show. You kind of you're on the treadmill of games. So you're like playing this game, and then if you don't finish it, another game's out. You got to play that game because it just came out. It's the new stuff, and then it's very hard to find a down period where you then go back to a game and finish it. If you don't finish it, it's kind of impossible.
Yeah,
you forget all the mechanics. You forget where you're supposed to go next. You forget the side quests.
Oh, the worst
characters.
The worst is button inputs when you're playing like a Dark Souls game. Then you jump over to another combat game, but it's like, you know, they've completely switched up everything. Like, that is rough.
I gotta say, hey, this week in video games said, Briar, you should pick up Grime. Briar's been maybe playing a bit of Grime, maybe a little bit, maybe a little.
Speaking of a game that I had to drastically change the button configuration for. Oh my god!
Oh really?
Yeah, because the dodge button is where the jump button should be, and the jump button is where the dodge button should be, and it's a side scrolling. I shouldn't be talking about this game, right?
Yeah, this.
You just can't give details. There's been a demo. Talk about the basics.
It uses the left stick instead of the D-pad for character movement.
What?
Oh, do you normally use a D-pad?
Yeah, because I'm not a fucking crazy person.
I never use a D-pad.
Yeah, I always use the left stick.
For side-scrolling action games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thumb gets sore from too much D-pad.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
When I was playing Mortal Kombat, I tore the skin away from my thumb.
It's brutal, right?
Nail.
It get like this gnarly blister from being so intense about I'm winning this battle, god damn it. Competitive spirit makes it blister up your thumb.
It's the blister pad. It's the B pad.
Yeah, because when you're serious about winning, you don't just press the button. You know, you forcefully force your thumb into the D-pad.
The amount of times I have just straight up slipped one of these off.
All sorts of sex jokes I can make right there.
I've slipped the control freak off. I'm mid like Souls boss fight or Neo boss fight. He goes whoop, and I'm like, well, fudge.
That's gone now.
It's gone. It's on the floor. Don't know where it is. We'll deal with it.
I don't know how anybody can play a 2D game with a D-pad or without a D-pad. D-pad is just the default. I literally judge controllers by how good the D-pad is.
I never use a D-pad. Anytime a game makes me use it, I'm like, that's weird.
I'm with Watts on this now. I've like fully moved on to the analog stick.
I wonder if this is a generational thing because I grew up with the D-pad.
I grew up with the D-pad too. Yeah.
I'm not that young. I'm old too.
Yeah, like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, like all those, you know.
So you play Mario with a left stick?
100% it. Destroyed the game.
People are fucking monsters.
Oh, Mario now? Yeah. I think I would. Actually, like the most recent Mario, I played with the analog stick.
Not a 3D Mario, a 2D Mario.
I mean like Dead Cells. I'm literally playing with the analog stick on a Switch. It feels good. They got it locked in, man.
I'm just shocked. I'm shocked that people. It's like I don't even know what to say. I'm just like I'm bewildered.
What I know is that my thumb isn't
Briar's
calloused.
changing all of these inputs. I'm like, I just picked it up and I was good to go.
Can we actually announce the exciting news?
In fairness, I am very stupid, and it's very hard for me to learn. Like going between Switch and PlayStation, where the Switch is always like the button on the far right is the enter button, and the bottom one is the back button. But on PlayStation, it's always the one on the bottom, and it's the far right that's the back button.
Yeah,
that shit just.
No, that's
I can play a whole game and still be making that mistake.
Everybody has that problem. Nobody is
Everyone does have that problem.
Nobody's fixing that.
It was a big problem with Genshin. It was a problem.
They put a setting to flip it in Genshin because
they did, yes, because people were like, I can't do this.
They're like, how about we just swap this? And I was like, thank you.
You to watch it in the game controls.
Yeah, in the menu, like in the actual options for Genshin, they'll swap the confirm.
Yeah, there's an
cancel.
option. It's not like changing your whole input option. It's just a flipping that button option.
Yeah.
You know what Nintendo says when you ask for that? No.
They say go play a different game.
I mean, that's Monster Hunter Rise. That was my experience with Rise for forever, is that it's all backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, especially after playing World for forever. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Can we announce actually the exciting news that we have?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, go for it, Watts.
So on August 9th, we are going to have the game director of Grime on the podcast answering some questions and talking about the game. The game comes out August 2nd. So at that point, people should have been able to play the game, and maybe we can get into some more spoilery stuff. Maybe we can talk about bosses and their design behind it, how it was.
I'm very excited about that.
Specific stuff.
We have to
it's
beat
really
that game
exciting.
tape before it comes out?
No, you don't have to beat it. Just have enough information to talk about it. So if you guys in the community, whether you're listening live or you listen later, if you have any questions that you would like to ask the game director of Grime, feel free to tweet it at me or tweet it at DCP, tweet it at anybody, and we'll see it.
I submitted my questions, and you wouldn't take any of them, so.
Unless you have questions like Briar. I will not be answering.
No. Valid questions.
Why do I have to use the analog stick? I want to use the D-pad. Like a proper gamer.
What made you default to an analog stick, you monsters?
This would actually be a good poll on Twitter.
That
would be a good poll.
And who do you think you are? What was it? I can't remember.
What gives you the right?
Question 1.
What gives you the
Who
right?
do you think you are? Question number 2. What gives you the right?
30 years of D-pad, and you just throw tradition to the wind.
You know, part of it has been the lackluster D-pad experience over the years. That's part of why I've moved away from it, because as you know, a lot of D-pads have sucked. You know, it's only recent that there's been like a renaissance of actually good D-pads. You know, like the Xbox Series X controller is amazing.
The Xbox Series X killed the D-pad.
Yeah, like that is, I will seek out using that D-pad because it's so nice. Yeah. You know?
That's a pleasurable button right there.
The pleasure button. Pleasure pad from the Series X.
Pleasure pad. One of my kids, I think, stole my Xbox Series X controller, so I have to buy a new one. I can't find it. Probably, a teenage bedroom.
So we're super excited about that. It's going to be our first game developer interview guest.
Yes, I'm very excited. It's going to be awesome.
True.
Yeah. I'm not a professional interviewer. I'm like, so gaming, that's cool. Huh? You make games? That's neat.
We're going to be asking them the hard-hitting questions like, how have you been opening doorknobs during a pandemic?
Yeah.
What's your stance on shower beers?
Any coworkers you plan on eating?
Drinking snake?
It's gonna
be
great.
Good news is the person that I contacted about it knows us and knows the show. So they're not totally signing. Yes. They're totally not blind signing up. So that's good.
That's good. Yeah.
I should preface anytime I ask if someone would want to come on and do an interview, I should go, so we're not very professional. Just so you know, the questions might be a little questionable sometimes, but we will not disrespect you. We will respectfully make you uncomfortable.
Yes. And watch as you look to HR.
Hey, with Indeed, I just get one guy on who's like a one-man studio.
Yeah, they are HR.
Say whatever he wants.
Yeah,
he can just say what he wants.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a fun episode. Eric's will be back for that too.
Yep.
So we'll have a good time.
It's going to be really fun. Yeah, we would have all played it. If you guys are interested in playing Grime, you would have played it. Which, speaking of which, there was a new cinematic trailer that came out today for Grime, which was really cool. It's like a minute and a half long. It's not in-game stuff. It's just kind of their launch trailer for it. And it's very, very cool. It's coming up soon. It's next Tuesday. No, next Monday. Next Monday is the official release date.
It's gonna be awesome.
And it's really good, guys. Like, seriously, I know Briar checked it out for the first time just to see what it's like, and you were saying that the animations are really smooth.
Yeah,
yeah,
real good.
It's a really well polished game.
I'm only like 20 minutes into the game, but I'm looking forward to diving deeper. I've been just hooked on Zelda. Plus, we're playing. God damn it! I forgot the name of the game.
Guilty Gear.
Whatever. No. I play Guilty Gear as well, but I'm playing a game
Guilty
for
Gear.
SideQuest, or not for SideQuest, for Retro Slot, and I can't remember the name of it.
Jay
I
was in
saw
chat.
Jay Sniperton.
Maybe Jay can say it in chat. Yeah.
Maybe he
And
can
also
quickly.
the demo for
again?
Grime is still available. If you guys want to check out the demo.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the demo is still available.
Oh, good.
Cool.
So there you go. Get to try it out and see what you think. I think for me, right away when I loaded up the game and I moved my character and I did the attack animation and then I did the parry animation for the first time, I was like,
Actraiser.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Actraiser.
Backraiser?
Backraiser.
Is that what it's called? Backraiser?
Actraiser.
That's a Briar game. Backraiser.
He uses a D-pad.
One of them.
Check out Backraiser on the Retro Slot. They're going to be talking about backs and razors for some reason.
Oh man,
Is that
So when
tomorrow?
you get those when you got back acne, you use the back razor to.
The Backraiser, yeah. Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Tomorrow
Well, on that note, I think that's SideQuest, right? Episode number
that is
103.
SideQuest.
103 The Bomb.
103 The
complete.
Bomb. Your hot rock dad bod
Elevator
no
music
ghost.
from the 70s.
Thank you very much for watching.
I want to comment on your T-shirt tonight, Tefty. I've been
Ain't afraid of no
saying-
ghost.
A little Ghostbusters
By the
action.
way,
Afraid of no ghost?
Ghostbuster the video game, which might be the hardest video game ever in the history of video
The one
games.
for the Xbox 360,
The old one. Old
the one for the NES, the one
Yes.
for the Sega Genesis.
old.
Both of those were pretty old.
Those are pretty old at that
The
point.
oldest
Atari?
one. It was really difficult. That game was hard, man.
The one for the
Anytime I
NES
bring him-
didn't even make any sense. The one for the Genesis.
So maybe that's
yeah.
why it was hard.
Yeah.
Make any sense?
Old. You know, Jay. Old.
Them old games.
Back to
To be
Pong?
fair, all old games were cheating. You up the difficulty, and it was like, what if the enemies just like didn't
Just
do
teleported.
it? Just
What if
teleported
they
and
knew
didn't take
what
damage.
you were doing before you did it?
They really
Mm.
did. The hard difficulties was just so cheating, especially in fighting games. Fighting games, they block everything perfectly. They
Oh,
dodge
Oh,
everything.
yeah. It's such
They were
BS.
the worst.
Yeah.
They
Especially
really were the
the
worst.
not very good fighting games.
Jay, I think it was the Atari Ghostbusters game.
Atari.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because it was like an old game. That's why I kept saying
Yeah, the
old.
ghost
And like
and the button.
old.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah, it was difficult. It's a
Old,
hard
you
game.
know,
You know,
old.
like old. Jesus. You know, so old
For
that
the
when they
Xbox
put out
360, it's old.
no, way older. Like, it's so old that when they put out those graphics of like, when did you start gaming? It's not on the list anymore.
It was for the PlayStation 4. You know, old.
Well, that's what Zoomers would say. Yeah, we're not.
yeah,
Zoomers.
before D-pads.
It was before the D-pad.
All right. I think that's the episode. Thank you very much for watching. Shout out to our Patreon members and our Twitch subs. You guys are awesome. Shout out to everyone watching
you guys
live
make it
and
happen.
listening.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Watts, what you doing this week?
So this Wednesday is my birthday.
Whoa, happy birthday.
Happy early
Thank
birthday. You
Thank
playing? You
you.
doing
I've got my
karaoke?
gift all picked out. Anyway, sending it. I
Tokens
wonder if I
for
still have
Japanese
your address from
karaoke?
the last time we did the Christmas gifts.
Christmas, yes. We're gonna be playing Idol Manager, which is the demo that we played that is ridiculous. So silly.
Oh.
Where you manage the idols and one of the magazine. Okay, short story really quickly.
Okay.
One of the idols that I got. So you do auditions to get idols into your group. You're trying to be big in the big pop stars. And one of the idols that I got was
I wasn't sure if it
photogenic.
was like God idols or like
No.
That's what I think people are like
Okay, pop
IDOL.
We're trying to be
Golden
a
calf?
We're being a musical group.
Idle hands.
BTS. We're trying to be BTS.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we got a photogenic girl. I was like, okay, so there's a couple options for advertising. There's like, you do photo shoots, game shows, interviews, like a bunch of different options. And I was like, she's photogenic. Let's go with photo shoots. We're going to make big bucks because she's photogenic. Mm-hmm. The first magazine that wanted her to be in it was called Tokyo Wanker.
Nice.
So I was like,
Brennan.
She's 15.
Oh. So she's too old for anime. She's aged out of anime porn.
Too old for anime.
So I'm hoping it doesn't. It comes out tomorrow. The game releases tomorrow, so it's a brand new game. I'm hoping Twitch doesn't go. It's banned. You're not allowed.
Is it risque?
No, I mean, so you can flirt with them. I'm thinking if I don't flirt with them, we're probably safe. And if there is any risky stuff, normally there is an option to turn off like nudity and stuff.
Yeah. What you need to get is like a big black bar.
I will actually
Inside
set up
OBS.
something that I can just press and go, whoops.
There you
go. Nope. So yeah, I bought a bunch of Japanese alcohol because we went to the Japanese grocery store. I got Japanese snacks, Japanese alcohol, and we're gonna be playing an idol game. We're gonna be partying.
This is Wednesday the 28th?
The 28th, yep.
That sounds great.
I'm gonna be starting at around 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Pacific time.
Day drinking?
Yeah.
Do a little day drinking on Wednesday. All right.
I want to play it all day. So if you guys want to bring some snacks and some alcohol, if you don't drink, bring you a little soda pop.
A little soda stream.
And we can try and become successful idols.
Awesome.
We're going to try and take the music world
or a birthday
by
present by then.
Briar's going to send me something risky.
Well, it's going to be stupid, obviously.
That's really cool, Watts.
I'm really excited for it because that game is really in depth, but very silly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Tokyo Wanker.
Tokyo Wanker wants to put your idol on the cover.
That was our first job.
Nobody says no to Tokyo Wanker. You're done in this industry.
Briar,
you're sending me Ghostbusters.
Yeah, there you go. Briar, what are you doing this week?
I don't know. I'm playing Zelda Skyward Sword. I've been riding my e-bike a lot. That's been fun. I rode 22 miles on Saturday.
I saw your picture.
Man.
It was beautiful.
Super fun.
That's great.
I'm really enjoying getting out to it. I had a couple rough years there health-wise, so it's been good to kind of resurrect the legs and get outdoors.
That's great. Yeah.
I've been really, really happy to be outside.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. I am going to be...
Hefty, when are you streaming? Whip out the calendar.
I know. That's maybe Grime. I might stream Grime. That's a good possibility.
I'm going to say it's part of your job responsibilities as a podcast side quester to stream Grime.
Wow. Putting it into the into the requirements there. I see. Okay. I
think you should probably talk to HR, Taffy.
I'm going to have to talk to HR.
A little overboard.
This week, I'm actually going to be working on a review for the Toner TC30 USB mic.
Oh,
I actually got sponsored by them to do a review, and I'm going to check it out. It's like a cheap mic, and could be good for someone who's $40, super cheap.
Oh, that's cheap.
Oh,
yeah, it's very, very cheap. But yeah, they reached out and wanted to do a sponsored type of video with me, so I'm going to be producing that video this week. So. I got to do that first. All right.
Isn't Pope HR?
No.
Pope's the closest HR we have.
Pope needed HR the most.
I look forward to that review, though. It's always nice to know if a cheaper microphone can really produce some good audio.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about doing a kind of a series on some of that stuff, kind of digging in deeper since we've, our
I think that
quote
would be
unquote
awesome.
Professional podcasters.
Yeah.
And I think that would be really cool because obviously about audio. So having recommendations for like cheaper audio setups would be, I think, really helpful. I know I would have loved that.
Or even something that's good on the go. You know,
yeah,
like USB mic is so easy to pack in a bag or something.
Exactly. Yeah, it's usually a question of like what the trade-offs are. You know, if it's going to be a $40 mic, well, where does it excel? Like those are usually what you're looking at, because you know I'm not going to recommend my setup for a new person and spend like $600 on something. It's like you don't need to do that to get going. You know,
like background PS5 and
exactly.
I should put mine over here somewhere. I got to set the Xbox up in here.
There you go.
I don't have space.
Well, that's the episode, guys. We're officially done now. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.